Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahabushai, Bahasham, Rakahakudash, Barakatum. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, glory, and infinite honors to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahabushai. Double honors to the apostles and elders, a great millstone who ruled and teach well. And peace and salutations to you sincere Akim out there, pushing this word in truth and sincerity to the four corners of the globe. May you brothers endure until the end. This is the brother Ra'aya with another video, and I'm going to start it off in Hebrews chapter 12, verse 16. Lest there be any fornicator or profane person as Esau, who for one morsel of meat sold his birthright. And the biblical Edomites today are known as these so-called white people, these Americans, British, Europeans, Russians, those Amalekite Edomites over in the Holy Land, calling themselves the children of the Most High, etc., etc. And profane means unholy or outside of the temple. And these Edomites are the most unholy, base, profane people on the face of the earth. They do everything wicked and clean contrary to righteousness and the laws, statutes, and commandments of the Most High. Hence why this world is in this chaotic, upside down state that it's in. And with them being profane, it leads to them being the biggest fornicators out here. And when we go to the Strong's definition for that word fornicator, it's G4205, pornos. What does that sound like? Porno. And when we go to the outline of biblical usage, it reads, a man who prostitutes his body to another's lust for hire, a male prostitute, a man who indulges in unlawful sexual intercourse, a fornicator. And just think of any degenerate sexual lust or fetish out here, and best believe it's Edomites at the forefront of it. Edomites pushing to normalize it. Look at the alphabet lifestyle beginning with LG. You've got a bestiality, which is real big amongst these Edomites. They push for drag queens to read books at elementary schools. They push for little children to go to drag shows, and so they can normalize that. And they're pushing for a pedophilia now to normalize that. Never forget that they have a group in America called NAMBLA, the North American Man-Boy Love Association. They like copophilia, which dealing with defecation. And then there's fetishes like what's it called? It's where people dress up like animals, furries. Or people dress up like again, animals, dogs, deers, monkeys, whatever, and commit in lewd sexual acts. They just mad fornication, unlawful sexual intercourse. And that's what I'll be going into with this video, with an article from the gatewaypundit.com titled, Sick, U.S. Army Colonel poses in uniform with pup mask, secret Army pup kink patrol exposed. Those are all Edomites in that picture, in the pup play. A secret group of pups and pup handlers in the U.S. military have been exposed after some soldiers spoke out and didn't want to cover up anymore. And as we'll see in this article, these Edomites in the U.S. military, no less, and some of them are in high positions. This is who's so-called defending the country, are into pup kinks, where you've got alpha pups and beta pups, where the alpha pups, commit lewd sexual acts on the beta pups. And on top of that, this is all men. So what? Sodomites, just an example of Esau being that profane fornicator, indulging in these unlawful sexual acts. But let's go back to Hebrews chapter 12, verse 17. For ye know how that afterward, when he would have inherited the blessing, he was rejected, because when you read about the blessing and the birthright to the kingdom of heaven in Genesis 25 to 27, hey, it was supplanted from him by Jacob, the progenitor of the 12 tribes of Israel, which consist of you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. But that was all through the Spirit for the Israelites through Jacob to inherit the blessing and the birthright to the kingdom of heaven. You Edomites are going to be rejected regardless. And it's easy to see why. Again, you're the most profane fornicators out here. You're the unrighteous. You're the wicked, as pursuant to Malachi 1 verse 4, the border of wickedness. The Most High created you to be as such, and he created you to hate you and to destroy you ultimately. For he found no place of repentance, though he sought it carefully with tears. Again, the Most High created you Edomites to be the wicked, as well as to be his sword and to show the righteous, the Israelites, on how a wicked kingdom looks and how the earth is not supposed to be governed. And hey, to the hopeful elect right now, which Aparatazah, I'm of that elect number, we can see what the fruits of a wicked kingdom is. Women out of order, children out of order, sodomites running around, chemtrails in the sky, pollution in the ocean, cell phone and Wi-Fi radiation giving people cancer, animals dying off in mass numbers. The list goes on and on. And so when the children of Israel are ruling in the kingdom of heaven, hey, we're going to know how to run things righteously under the law, statutes, and commandments of Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai. But as for you Edomites, when you're finally taken out of power, you're going to go into hardcore bondage and slavery for 1,000 years. And then after that 1,000 years, every single Edomite man, woman, and child, young and old, is going to be gathered up and permanently culled from this planet with fire. And it's much needed, because you Edomites are the original can't-do-rights. The Most High, again, created you to be the wicked, the unrighteous, and as it says in Ecclesiastes, who can make that straight, which the Most High has made crooked? Even in the kingdom of heaven, when you see a righteous rulership being set up, you're still going to go off and be wicked and get punished for it. So the only thing for you is no place of repentance. You just need to be wiped off from this plane of existence. But before we go into this article, I'm going to get a few more precepts. This is Daniel 4 verse 17. This matter is by the decree of the watchers being the prophets, out on the highways and byways preaching this word, as well as putting up video epistles online, and the demand by the word of the holy ones, to the intent that the living may know that the Most High ruleth in the kingdom of men, and giveth it to whomsoever he will, and setteth up over it the basest of men. And the basest of men are you Edomites, the most profane fornicators out here. And this verse says that the Most High rules in the kingdom of men and sets up whomever he will. You Edomites didn't get the control over the planet like you have now by your own means, by your own strength or so-called intelligence. The Most High set you up for a season to fulfill prophecy, and like I just said, show the righteous what a wicked rulership looks like and how not to govern. And we've just about reached the end of your rulership, hence why your power is declining globally. And eventually you're going to be taken out of power and go into that 1,000 years of hardcore bondage and slavery, hey, before you're cut out of the earth. This is Job chapter 30, verse 1. And hey, this verse is making much more sense with each passing day as this world gets much more wicked out here. But now they that are younger than I have me in derision, and them being younger is going into being insignificant, less, base, which you Edomites are, compared to the children of Israel, and even compared to these other heathen nations out here. You're the original nobody. And also, you Edomites are younger than us. You came out of our forefather, Isaac. You Edomites come of us. But now they that are younger than I have me in derision, which you Edomites do have the 12 tribes in derision. The so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. They're niggers, spics, tontos, illegal aliens, thugs, gangsters, thoughts, whores, all that. Hey, our people are the last hired, the last hired, the first fired. They get gunned down in these streets by these cops. You and these other heathen nations put poisonous food and water into our neighborhoods to break down our people. You put Planned Parenthoods into our neighborhoods to advocate for our women to delete their children. You give us gangster rap and hip hop and all this other degenerate stuff to further take us away from our power, etc., etc. There will be a recompense for that, for afflicting the apple of the Most High's eye, the children of Israel, whose fathers I would have disdained to have set with the dogs of my flock. And why is that? Because you Edomites would have some pup play with those animals. Like I said earlier in the video, one of the unlawful, lewd, sexual acts you Edomites like to indulge in is bestiality. We see why you call dogs man's best friend. I did a video a couple of months ago on how a man down in Baton Rouge sexually assaulted 2 guard dogs while he tried to break into a business. And then over in Florida, there was another Edomite who destroyed like a nativity scene at a church and then sexually abused a dog. And then, as we can see in this article, dealing with real dogs isn't good enough. You like to create fetishes, pup play, where you role play as dogs and disembowel each other. You Edomites just need to be cut off. It's sick seeing you vile, base beasts walk around without chains on you. But hey, your rulership is almost over. Here's this degenerate right here. U.S. Army colonel. He's a colonel in the military. Again, this is supposed to be who's defending the U.S. We can clearly see that Russia and China, these other nations, are going to run roughshod on the United States without his pup mask. And here he is with his pup mask. The identity of Pup Ravage is Colonel Brian Connolly, retired of Indo-PACOM. Connolly is heavily involved in the pup kink community in Hawaii and had a relationship with a subordinate who also engages in the kink. As many have correctly noted, it's Colonel Brian T. Connolly. The pictures consistently provide the correct spelling. Blah, blah, blah. Identity of U.S. Army's Pup Ravage is Colonel Brian T. Connolly of the MD Army Guard CO 58th EMIB 1100th TASMG, posing in uniform with mask, engaged in pup play, sex, unlawful sexual acts, fornication with junior U.S. Army officer CPT Dayton Tenney, another man, so sodomy. Connolly wore his pup mask in military spaces. Colonel Brian T. Connolly wore mask with his uniform in military spaces. He's seen in a locker room in U.S. Army uniform with Joint Base PHH unit nameplates for 515 AMOW/CE and 154th Wing CC 101st AASL TDIV patches. This screaming eagle is a pup playing with insignificant insignia, and himself. Here's some of the pictures. Fucking madness. Connolly was in a sexual relationship with CPT Dayton Tinney, a fellow Army pup in Hawaii. Colonel Connolly and CPT Tinney both were Joint Base PHH Hawaii in an alpha pup and beta pup sex relationship with other partners, a pup kink community. Both officers have pup masks in pics, in uniform and on military installations. Here's a image of his lover. Is this real life? Connolly's pup lover, Dayton Tinney, also wore a pup mask while in uniform. Here's an image of this Edomite sodomite without his mask. I mean, just look at this guy's eyes. Just sick. You can tell he just got sick, degenerate demons on him, and just imagine what's going through his head. Man, look, come on. Now, Colonel Connolly will forever be tied to the U.S. Army through his pup kink and disgrace his uniform. Shit, which the U.S. military uniform is a disgrace anyway. The only thing the U.S. military is known for throughout its history is rape, robbery, murder, and now pup play. Some soldiers have finally spoken out. They don't want to cover up anymore. Donnelly wasn't quiet about his fetish, and he engaged in it with a subordinate officer, an 06 and an 03. I'll just zoom in on it. And they've also got transformers in high positions of power in the U.S. military. Connolly posted a photo of himself in uniform and on flight line with his pup mask on, talking about his fetish. I'm a pup. I'm an alpha, rearing other pups. Colonel Connolly exposed himself in uniform and on a flight line. Talks don't ask, don't tell. To this day, still find it difficult to be completely open in my work environ and around professional colleagues. And then there's my fetish. I'm a pup. I'm an alpha, rearing other pups. So, if you think about dressing like an animal and fornicating like a dog as a human, it's not far off to think you'd commit the acts with the real thing. Remember what Job said, whose fathers I would disdain to have amongst the flocks of my dogs. The army pups posted sexually explicit photos of themselves. Colonel Donnelly doesn't just kink with his CPT Tinney. It's a traveling, swinging community of pups, discusses Connolly. Alpha Pup Ravage instructing Tinney to cuff up Pup Breezy and tease his C****K. Should be able to figure out what that means. Torturing poor, locked up Pup Breezy. And hey, when I first looked at this article, they brought the picture up, but the Spirit had it to where you just have to leave it to your imagination. The Army Pups posted hardcore porn bondage pictures on Twitter. Colonel Connolly, aka Pup Ravage, has his beta pups call him Sir. Man. Dishonorable discharge for all active duty personnel and strip pensions of retired personnel. And they need more than that. And they need to be cut down and sent to the spirit world. Shit, they're going into slavery regardless. That's it with this article. But hey, just another example showing how these Edomites are the most profane fornicators out here. The basest of men. They need to be taken out of power. The only thing they're good for is chains on them and being slaves in the kingdom of heaven. And then after they've served their purpose, being permanently cold from this planet with fire. And this great destruction of Esau Edom's rulership is going to begin with the United States of America, which is the number one progenitor of all these wicked death styles and fetishes onto the rest of the planet. They push it through their political agendas, Hollywood, social media, curriculums they're trying to get into these schools to corrupt the minds of the children, etc., etc. Let's get into these precepts. This is Revelation chapter 11, verse 8. And their dead bodies shall lie in the street of the great city, which spiritually is called Sodom and Egypt, where also our Lord was crucified. And that so-called great city, which spiritually is called Sodom and Egypt, is speaking of the United States of America. And we can clearly see why the U.S. is known as spiritual Sodom. Sodomites committing pup play. And again, this involves high-ranking members in the U.S. military. And besides this, you had Pride Month back in June. You have U.S. schools having drag queens come read to children and push the curriculum of the alphabet lifestyle beginning with LG onto the children, showing that these degenerate lifestyles, hey, that's just a normal sexual preference. And you just had two movies that bombed at the box office. One called Bros, which deals with two sodomites in a relationship, and another Disney movie, which Disney heavily pushes for pedophilia as well. What's that title? Subtly through its movies, called Strange World, where you had a teenage boy who was in a relationship with another boy. And this place is also known as spiritual Egypt because it's serving in the exact same function that ancient Egypt served for the children of Israel as a place of hardcore bondage and slavery. I gave some examples earlier. The majority of you Israelites are the last hired and first fired. They put Planned Parenthoods into our neighborhoods to advocate for our women to delete their children, which when you read the first chapter of Exodus, the Israelites were reproducing so much in Egypt that they tried to find a way to cut off the Israelites from reproducing so much. They put poisonous food and water into our neighborhoods for our children and our people to eat and drink. And then this country uses a lot of the same symbolisms and practices of ancient Egypt. Just look at the back of your $1 bill. It's the pyramid with the all-seeing eye. They've got the Washington Monument, which is an obelisk. Bread and beer are very big food staples in the U.S., and they were big food staples back in ancient Egypt. You've got places like Memphis, which was a name of a place in Egypt, Tennessee, which also has a pyramid in it. And then you've got a hotel, and I think it's a casino as well, out in Las Vegas, which is a pyramid. I think it's the Luxor. And then they've also got a mock recreation of the Sphinx out there. If the spirit of Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai is dealing with you, you can clearly see that this place, this so-called great city, the United States of America, is spiritual Sodom and Egypt, and that these Edomites, well, these so-called white people are the biblical Edomites, and that they're the wicked in the scriptures and the most profane fornicators out there. And like I said, the destruction of Esau's rulership is going to begin with the United States of America, the home base of the degeneracy and wickedness that Esau uses to push his filth onto the rest of the planet, especially onto our people. Again, you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans who are the true children of Israel. And that goes into back in Revelation 11, verse 8, those dead bodies lying in the street of the great city, spiritually dead bodies. 2/3 of our people in the U.S. are slated for destruction, along with these Edomites and other heathen nations, because you refuse to return back unto your power, Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai. You want to be everything else under the sun but who you are, the true children of Israel. You still want to be black, African American, Mexican, Native American, Cherokee, Choctaw, Christian, Catholic, Buddhist, a Muslim, even an atheist. You want to be a red-blooded American. And a lot of our people are involved in that alphabet lifestyle, beginning with LG. You've become fornicators just like Esau. So you're going to receive the same judgment as these American Edomites. But this is Isaiah chapter 13. I'm going to start at verse 19. And Babylon, the glory of kingdoms, the beauty of the Chaldees' excellency, shall be as when the Most High overthrew Sodom and Gomorrah. And besides being known as spiritual Sodom and Egypt, in the scriptures, the United States of America is also known as Babylon the Great, the daughter of Babylon. You can go to Psalms chapter 137, read verses 7 to about 9 to see that these Edomites are synonymous with the daughter of Babylon. And how was ancient Sodom and Gomorrah destroyed by the Most High for committing the very same lewd acts that the United States of America is committing, with fire and brimstone from the sky? So this modern day spiritual Sodom and Gomorrah, Sodom and Egypt, is going to be destroyed by modern fire and brimstone. 200 million nuclear missiles, which are going to hit this place and turn it into the biblical lake of fire from sea to shining sea, and then a desolate, uninhabitable wasteland afterwards. It shall never be inhabited, neither shall it be dwelt in from generation to generation. Neither shall the Arabian pitch tent there, neither shall the shepherds make their fold there. When those missiles hit this place and wipe everything off, it's going to be a desolate, uninhabitable wasteland where man, woman, or child will never set foot on ever again. And after a time, only desert creatures, which can live in harsh environments like that, will dwell here, as it's about to say. But wild beasts of the desert shall lie there, and their houses shall be full of doleful creatures. And owls shall dwell there, and satyrs shall dance there. And the wild beasts of the islands shall cry in their desolate houses, and dragons in their pleasant palaces. And her time is near to come, and her days shall not be prolonged. And we can clearly see that the time of the destruction of Babylon the Great, spiritual Sodom and Egypt, the United States of America, are no longer being prolonged, and her end is very near to come. This country's in inflation, which is going to go into hyperinflation. We're on the verge of a depression, which is going to make the Great Depression look like a day on Sesame Street. More people are losing their jobs. A lot of people are having to move back into their parents' homes because rent is just too high. You've got food shortages coming, mass death, judgment. And it's much needed. Again, just look at this. So that's it with this video. And with this video, I hope you sincere Akim and Akwath were edified. Just keep strong. We're almost out of this final wicked captivity of the heathen nations, chiefly of the Edomites, primarily from the United States of America, pup kink capital of the world. So as always, I'm going to say Abad Babal, Kwam Yasharala, and until next time, Shalom.